This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
The Rays are in the high payroll AL East. They can't compete money-wise or salary-wise with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays.
The Rays want a new ballpark, but trade the team's biggest star. How are they expecting to draw fans to watch them play? What are they thinking? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on if the Rays are dismantling in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin with the question being asked tonight by Sarasota County teachers. Why are we some of the lowest paid teachers in the nation while the superintendent of schools is among the highest? Teachers picketed before tonight's school board meeting. Currently, the superintendent has a salary of $185,000 a year with a $15,000 a year performance bonus if goals are met.
Well, the offer that we have on the table is a 3% raise for teachers. I believe the sticking point is how that money is distributed. We believe that that money should go to our highly effective teachers on our performance salary schedule, a salary schedule that is available to all of our teachers.
The school board meeting is underway and we'll have more at 11. With sexual harassment in the workplace getting attention across the country, the city of Venice may be rethinking its harassment policy. Councilman Bob Daniels is asking the city's Human Resources Department to determine if the current one is strong enough to deter harassment, both sexual, verbal, and physical. This comes just a week after a photo surfaced of Venice Mayor John Hollick grabbing a woman.
Nothing is triggering it. Other than perhaps the environment is going nationally and so forth. And I just want to make sure that there's anything that is perhaps it could be improved or updated, we go ahead and do it.
The request comes only days after allegations surfaced of sexual harassment taking place at the Venice Theater. Today was Governor Rick Scott's last State of the State address, and it focused on issues from holding down taxes, supporting law enforcement, and addressing sexual harassment. He says state leaders need to invest in the environment, education, transportation, and infrastructure. Scott is also pushing a proposal to require a vote by 2/3 majority of the legislature in order to approve a tax increase.
I want 2018 to be the year that Florida voters pass a constitutional amendment that makes it harder for politicians to raise taxes.
The governor also encouraged lawmakers to pass sexual harassment legislation while saying he wants to spend $53 million to help fight the opioid epidemic in the state. Not your ordinary first day of the legislative session. A sex scandal involving 2 married senators, one of them the chamber's highest ranking Democrat and the other one the Senate's most powerful Republican, overshadowed the goings-on at the Capitol. Today, Senate Minority Leader Oscar Bannion, a Miami Gardens Democrat, and Senate President pro tempore Antier Flores, a Miami Republican, admitted they had an extramarital affair shortly after videos and photos of Flores leaving and entering Bannion's apartment were posted online.
I will not defend somebody engaging in an extramarital affair. But what I will defend is it's a hell of a lot different than being a sexual predator. It's a hell of a lot different than raping somebody. It's a hell of a lot different than committing a crime.
In addition to former State Senator Jack Latvala's resignation after sexual harassment allegations, former Democratic State Senator Jeff Clements, who had been poised to take over as leader of the Senate Democratic caucus, resigned from his legislative seat last October after admitting he had an affair with a lobbyist. Planned Parenthood has finally named its new leader after the retirement of Barbara Dravecki, the organization naming Stephanie Kite as its new CEO. She previously held senior leadership roles with Planned Parenthood affiliates in Ohio and California, the Planned Parenthood Federation of America as well. She will replace Dravecki, who plans to retire at the end of the month. Dravecki was the CEO for 24 years. A man charged with trafficking meth in Bradenton will spend more than 17 years behind bars in federal prison. Jarvis Thomas pleaded guilty in September to possessing more than 500 grams of meth with the intent to sell. A Sarasota County Sheriff's deputy stopped Thomas for driving with a suspended license. Investigators say Thomas threw a black bag out of the car's window during the stop. The bag had 65 bags filled with meth and heroin. Deputies also found large amounts of meth and heroin, a gun, and thousands of dollars of cash in his home. If you avoid flying out of Sarasota Bradenton International Airport because of the price tag, a new and cheaper option is on the way. Allegiant announcing it will begin serving SRQ with nonstop service to Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Pittsburgh. Allegiant will become the 7th airline to fly in and out of SRQ, joining Air Canada, American, Delta, Elite, JetBlue, and United.
Allegiant's just been such a growing, significant carrier in the last few years and in the country that this was particularly gratifying because it changes the face of the airport significantly, especially as being our first ultra-low-cost carrier.
Allegiant has service at 6 Florida airports, including St. Pete, Clearwater International, and Punta Gorda. Now let's go over to our first-class weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Has good flight weather right now, Alan, as planes are taking off and landing. A lot more landing, I think, bringing folks down from the extreme cold that we saw last week. And boy, temperatures have really rebounded, haven't they? Temperatures today, upper 70s. To near 80 degrees and a gorgeous sunset, too. Get a look at that from our Sarasota Bay webcam. This is a Van Wezel webcam looking at calm conditions, too, right over Sarasota Bay. Currently clear skies, 66. And when we get temperatures warm like this and close to the dew point with light winds and clear skies, fog becomes an issue like we saw a couple of weeks ago. That fog was really thick in some areas, and it could be that, again, the case tonight and tomorrow morning. So look out for some advisories down to low visibilities for commuters tomorrow morning. Well, 68 now in Orlando. It's 74 even at this hour in Miami, so comfortable there. 67 in Tallahassee. And as far as the rainfall goes, a lot of it down to our south and to the east. Upper level low, a little disturbance there, bringing some showers to the east of the state. We had some of this last night and early this morning that brought up over a ½ inch of rain to places along the west coast of Florida. We have a low pressure area right there in the Gulf of Mexico, which continues to weaken as it pushes to the southeast. That area of low pressure is not going to cause any rainfall, although the radar looks like there's some action going on down south. There's not. Again, military exercises, Alan, that's going on down to the Keys and some of that chaff coming up. But for us, the radar picture showing pretty quiet conditions right there, and it should stay that way through the evening. We're looking at warmer temperatures, 64 at 11 o'clock.
We want to know more about those military exercises,
That's
Bob.
right.
Get on it.
They've been doing a lot down there. We have to see what's going on over the past couple of days.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, how do the Tampa Bay Rays expect us to pay for their new ballpark when they just traded away one of their most beloved players? Stay with us.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
It's time to go boating, but first, don't miss the 17th annual Charlotte County Boat Show, January 11th to the 14th at the Charlotte County Fairgrounds. Show admission is free and on-site parking is only $5. January 11th through the 14th. Visit GoBoatingFlorida.com for more information.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie.
This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend.
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
It's time to go boating, but first, don't miss the 17th annual Charlotte County Boat Show, January 11th to the 14th at the Charlotte County Fairgrounds. Show admission is free and on-site parking is only $5. January 11th through the 14th. Visit goboatingflorida.com for more information.
Good news, just over a month until pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Bad news, bet you can't tell me 5 players on the Rays roster. While you're thinking about that, how do you trade the face of the franchise while making the case for a new stadium? Dwayne Linto is here with more. Dwayne.
Well, Alan, I got to tell you, the organization still has a lot of work to do in terms of putting all the pieces of the puzzle in place. Many fans are asking, what's going on? Who's the new face of the franchise? And more importantly, what steps are being taken to put this team on track?
To center field off the end of the bat. Adam Jones was deep. He's not going to get it.
The Rays' most recognized player in their history is now gone. Many Rays fans imagining Evan Longoria playing his entire career in one uniform. At Ferg's, a popular sports bar sitting right next to Tropicana Field, its owner, Mark Ferguson, and fans are especially troubled.
We hate to see Evan go. He's been our best player, most consistent over the years. He's just a wonderful person in the community.
A lot of changes are going to take place, and a lot of fans are upset.
All right, we're going to take your calls, and I want to find out.
Tampa sports talk show host Rock Riley has been covering the Rays since day one. He's also in the loop on another major change the Rays organization wants to take.
I've talked to Stuart Sternberg, who owns the Rays, numerous times, and he always has looked me in the eye and said, I will never move this franchise. But if he feels that he cannot get a stadium done, and there's nothing concrete. I know they made the announcement, Hillsborough County Commissioners, and they've got a plot of land over by Ybor City, but it's not concrete. Where's the money going to come from?
And while many fans are furious over the trade, he says the Rays are changing the way they approach typical off seasons.
I think what hurts is he was such a good guy. He was still producing, and everybody loved him, but it was a business move. But if they want to compete, they got to do it with young guys or take some guys off the scrap heap. It's worked in the past. That's their MO.
He says it's not the first time the team has released valuable all-stars, especially in a division where this small market franchise is financially overmatched.
The Rays are in the high payroll AL East. They can't compete money-wise or salary-wise with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays.
HNL3.com sports executive producer and host Evan Bush agrees money was a big factor in trading 32-year-old Evan Longoria.
His contract was one of the largest in team history. It's a $100 million contract. It definitely kicked in this year with 13.5 guaranteed for him. So yeah, it definitely has to do a lot with money.
And with that business move of trading away the face of the franchise, the Rays will have to look to another player to represent Tampa Bay here at the Trop.
I would say it's either Kiermaier or Archer are now the face of the franchise.
As far as the nucleus, KK's taken over. He's a phenomenal player. He'll be the face of the team for the next 3 to 5 years before he's traded. It's all about getting fresh faces and younger, scrappier players.
And future moves the Rays make may have to be close to perfection in order to compete.
Guys that hit big bombs, flies, home runs, they cost a lot of money. So you're not going to be able to get any big boppers in here. So you got to rely on pitching and defense. They're going to go back to that. And you're going to see some young guys that starred in AAA, they're going to get their shot this year.
Even though the Rays looking to make the roster more affordable, Ferguson is looking at it from a perspective of a glass half full.
Go back to April '08. We had no idea. We thought the team would lose 100 games, and they went to the World Series. That's what we're hoping for in 2018.
As for Longoria and his ties to the Tampa Bay community,
He comes down here and does those community events, which I still think he's still going to be involved with. He still has his restaurant Ducky's, which is still down here as well. They're expanding as well. So his presence is still going to be known in this area. He still has a house down here. So if guys like Joe Madden can still come down here and do his community events, I think Evan Longoria is still going to do that and still be a presence.
Now, Tropicana Field, considered by many one of the worst ballparks in Major League Baseball, and the issue of low attendance is something the organization will have to address in the next couple months and throughout the season.
Dwayne, thank you. And coming up next, there is no instant replay at the Trapezoid, so you better stay tuned.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, canoeing, camping, and more. Or challenge yourself on Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy a Deep South dining experience. Book your adventure in one of our members' lodges or stay at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
I'll be right back.
Welcome back. So let me ask you, how many games are you going to go to see the Rays this year? We ask because while the Suncoast is the capital of spring training baseball in Florida, we have only one team that calls the region home for the regular season, and that's the Rays. The problem is no one likes the Trop. The team wants a new stadium. A site has been identified in Tampa, but there is no finance plan, and the Rays are trading away the face of the franchise, Evan Longoria, in a salary dump. Isn't it going to how is that going to fill the seats in the year where you need to make the case that the Rays need a new stadium? And joining us for more is Evan Bush, host at HNL3.com, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype is Tyler Bradley of Sports Talk Florida. So Tyler, let me start with you. In terms of what are folks saying up there in terms of the departure of Evan Longoria while the Rays are trying to get momentum going in terms of that new stadium?
Well, obviously people aren't thrilled about it. Look, he was the face of the franchise, and if you ask any baseball fan across America to name one person on the Tampa Bay Rays in the last 10 years, more times than not, that's Evan Longoria. And getting rid of him, again, it is a salary dump, but in terms of being able to fill the seats and move the stadium, until ownership can commit and show that they're committed to winning, that it doesn't matter where the stadium is going to be because they're not going to put any fans in the stands.
You know, Evan, sometimes words come back to haunt you. And a couple of years ago, Stu Sternberg, the owner of the Rays, said that if by the end of Evan Longoria's contract, quote, we are not in a new stadium, it's not going to work out well. So Longo is long out of here. We are not in a new stadium. And really, what does this mean practically in terms of the future of the Rays in the Tampa Bay area?
You know, I think practically it means, you know, they're trying to save money. I mean, I think going each and every year, they always say, hey, we're going to cut payroll, cut payroll. And, Evan Longoria was the highest paid guy on the team. And when you're trying to save money and you're trying to build a stadium, the highest guy on the payroll, it's something you have to dump off.
So, Dwayne, where are we right now? As we reported that they identify the section of land in Ybor City, which would really be at the crossroads for us of just shooting right up 75, and you have I-4 there, easy entrance and exit onto the highways there. But we haven't heard much since in terms of financing of it.
Well, look, the Hillsborough County Commission, they still have to discuss and try to figure out, are they going to approve this? The team still has to raise the money. Where's the money going to come from is the first thing. So money has to be there. Also, the Rays at this point, they don't have an identity. It seems like they're still trying to find an identity because, again, they're competing with a lot of the storied franchises, the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox. But at this point, nothing's set in stone as in terms of the stadium.
Evan, we've heard that the Rays are willing to put up a little bit more than $100 million for construction of the stadium, a stadium which would really kind of, cost close to $1 billion if you're talking about a roof over the stadium, which really is a necessity around here, at a time when we have had legislators on this show saying the days of public financing for a stadium is over.
Yeah, $160 million, which is what Sternberg said he was willing to propose for the new stadium. I think if you're an owner of a team, and Tyler hit it right on the nail on the head, if you're going to commit long term to this team, $150 million is just a smidge of what you should really commit as an owner to this team to bring a new stadium to the Tampa Bay area. So I think $200 million, $300 million needs to be ponied up for the new stadium if you're really going to commit to a long-term deal with this team.
Tyler, is there a lot of pushback in Hillsborough County and Pinellas right now? And mind you that Pinellas still thinks that it has a chance to retain the Rays right where they are.
There's been a bit of pushback. I mean, what taxpayer would want to pay a single dime for a team that can't win anything? And it's really frustrating for the fans and for the ownership group and just everybody that's involved.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on saving the Rays right after we check the First Alert forecast. Stay with us.
Everything all right? Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Mark Zupan, part of the U.S. Paralympic rugby team. In my game, movement is everything. I get frustrated when my move is blocked, especially when that guy has no right to be there, even just for a minute. I love a challenge, but I don't like to play this game every day.
A message from the United Spinal Association.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Our conversation on saving the rays continues right after we check the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, the sun rays here producing a nice sunset. This is from Barb Wilson, Venice. Appreciate the shot right there. David getting this of the sun just getting ready to dip below the horizon earlier this evening. Send your photos to pics, PIX at mysuncoast.com. Where the weather headlines read like this: warm weather has returned to the Sunshine State. Temperatures well above average today. Will stay that way through Friday, and then some rain comes in, though, late Friday. As things start to change again, we transition back to winter weather, and it will be a cooler weekend. We'll see dry conditions on Saturday and Sunday, but temperatures will be on the colder side, not like the last weekend, but still on the cooler side. Area of low pressure, you can see it spinning right there, but it's weakening. The cloud cover associated with it also dissipating, as the low will do so the same. And you can see some rainfall along the east and down to our south, associated with some moisture coming up from the tropics right now, and a little disturbance in the upper level of the atmosphere, producing quite a bit of cloudiness located to the east of our immediate area. Nothing going on here as far as rain-wise goes. We don't count on much rain over the night and into, it looks like, throughout much of Wednesday. You can see out west, so the big story is a major winter storm causing all sorts of problems with mudslides and also winter weather warnings, high surf advisories, and flood advisories out there as a result of that major storm moving on in. And that storm will eventually swing a stronger cold front our way, as I alluded to, late Friday. 66 degrees right now, clear skies, and the dew point is at 63, and the humidity way up there at 90% as the dew point and temperature are getting close to one another with light winds and clear skies. The high today was 78, well above the average of 71. Not close to the record, though. Look at that, 2013, I should say, 87 degrees, a record high for that day. 54/100ths of an inch of rainfall at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. Our monthly total now above an inch so far for the year. And you can see temperatures are cooling down just a little bit into the mid to upper 60s near the coast. Longboat Key at 69, and Sarasota 67, Osprey 67 as well. 71 in Northport, and Port Charlotte at 71 degrees. So the forecast model suggesting rain to the north. There's a slight chance for an overnight shower, but not much. And then tomorrow looks to be good. We'll have the fog in the morning. Fog burns off, then partly cloudy skies throughout the remainder of the day. There could be some pretty good sea fog, too, developing. So mariners, look out for that. That'll be about the only downside to the boating forecast for tomorrow, and some heavier showers along the East Coast. And for the beach and boating weather, looks like this. The sea fog around. We'll have east winds at 10 knots. Seas will run 2 to 3 feet with a light chop out there in the bays and in the waters. Beaches should see a high right around 75 degrees. Here's a look at the forecast. Then some fog tomorrow. Otherwise, partly cloudy, 78, 76 on Thursday. Increasing clouds on Friday, but still warm, mid-70s. And then we go back to the 60s for a while. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday will all be in the 60s. There'll be a chance for some rainfall, though, come late Friday and into Friday night, and the rain chance tapering off on Saturday and turning windy and chillier for the weekend. Al will be back with his panel coming up right after this. Stick around.
The classic film Singing in the Rain is coming to the Players Center in a live stage show opening January 17th. All the dances and all the songs you've come to know and love, all a part of our Wild Broadway series. Get your tickets now for this limited run by calling the Players at 365-2494 or visit us online at theplayers.org. You too can be singing in the rain.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield.
When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Welcome back. We're talking about the effort to keep the Tampa Bay Rays in the area while they're trading away some of the team's biggest stars. Joining us for more is Evan Bush, host at HNL3.com, ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo, and joining us by Skype is Tyler Bradley of Sports Talk Florida. So, Dwayne, what is it about the Rays in terms of their, let's say, anemic turnout at games? After all, this is a big baseball area. This is the home of spring training in Florida. We love baseball around here.
Well, look, let's face it. The Rays are relatively a new team. They started out in 1998 as an expansion team, and they're playing in a division with storied franchises. You have the New York Yankees, you have the Boston Red Sox, the Baltimore Orioles. So they're, in essence, they're competing with a lot of these teams. And keep in mind, like I said before, at this point, it seems like comparing the Rays with a lot of these AL East teams, they're still trying to find their identity. And I think Evan Longoria, according to a lot of fans I spoke to, was part of that identity, and now he's gone. So,
you know, Evan, Dwayne brought up that the Rays have only been around here since 1998, but the Tampa Bay Lightning, hockey, they haven't been around much longer than that, and they sell out practically every night. And this is not a hockey area. My kid's at the game right now, and he's a baseball player.
Who would have think that hockey would be a big seller in Florida of all places? Yeah, you know, Dwayne's right. I think, you know, it's weird to think that a baseball team can't sell out like a hockey team can too. But I think I'm at a disadvantage here. You guys are both Yankees fans, so I'm the only Rays fan on the panel. But I think what the Rays really need to do is kind of look at the marketing standpoint. The Lightning do a wonderful job up in Tampa. Going over the bridge, if you go over the Howard Franklin, you don't see a lot of Rays banners. You don't see a lot of Rays posters anywhere. You mostly see Bucks and Lightning, and I think it has to do with marketing the team correctly. I mean, they do it well down here in the Bradenton, Sarasota area, but when you go over that Howard Franklin bridge, it's Bucks, Lightning. I think that's something they would need to address if you're trying to bring in fans.
Tyler, that's such an obvious question. Why aren't the Rays doing more in terms of their marketing? I mean, they are out there. They are sponsoring things. I know that they're involved with, for instance, in the Tampa Bay area, Buddy Baseball, which is a great program for kids who are disabled in terms of helping them play. But they do not get the kind of marketing that the Lightning get. And as a result, the Lightning are a thing in our area right now.
Without a doubt. And as much as it could be the marketing as well, people and sports fans love to see winners. And until they can prove that they're committed to winning and they're going to spend money on players to show that they want to win, attendance will be an issue.
Well, you know, are you saying that the strategy that the Rays are employing today is simply no longer working anymore? I mean, a couple of years ago, I mean, their salary structure is what it is, but they were really savvy in terms of bringing players up and key free agent signings, and as a result, we got a World Series not all that long ago. What went wrong?
Well, you know, Alan, I think they're trying to really recreate that. If you look at their farm system, they don't have a bad farm system by any means. They're going to rely on pitching and defense, as Rock Riley mentioned in the package before, that hitting is not going to be one of the priorities for this team, and they're going to rely on the young talent. And they have guys in the minor leagues, and let's not forget the Durham Bulls won the 2017 AAA National Championship, and they have some pretty good pitching on that staff in terms of Brent Honeywell, Ryan Yarbrough, Yanni Chirinos. So they have guys that are going to be up and coming. And to me, it just seems like that's what they're trying to recreate is we're a small market team. We have to go with younger, cheaper talent and pray that it all comes out and works together.
Evan, at a time when you are trying to find the money in order to make this stadium deal realize. Is this just a bad strategy at a bad time?
You know, I don't think it's a bad strategy at a bad time. You're looking at a team that's, you know, as Dwayne said, they're trying to find an identity. You know, the Rays have tried to bring in the big, you know, the name players that have big contracts. They have to start from back to basics like they did in the 08 run. They have to rebuild their farm system, which they are doing. They have guys like Jake Bowers and Willie Adames that are probably going to be coming up this season. So going back to basics, which they did in the past, I think will kind of bring this team full circle than trying to be that heavy-hitting team which they were trying to do the past couple of years.
So Dwayne, what do folks around here tell you in terms of what their plans are for the upcoming season? And a lot of people around here, in the past, they have gone to a lot of games over the course of the season, sometimes maybe one or two. And it's so interesting when you compare it to spring training around here and the excitement about the Orioles and the Pirates, and now the Braves coming in. You got the Twins and the Red Sox, the Yankees, and onward and onward.
Well, look, a lot of the folks I spoke with, not only in the Sarasota, Bradenton area, but I also went up to St. Petersburg and Tampa. A lot of those folks I spoke with who are true Rays fans, look, they're livid about the whole Evan Longoria trade, but I think some of them realize, look, this is a money thing. It's all about money. So you have to make that trade, free up some money for, I mean, that's what the Rays are all about. They're a small market team. They need to free up that money to pay for a lot of other players. So I think a lot of fans realize that, although they're upset. Don't get that wrong. They realize that.
Tyler, how long will Major League Baseball be patient? Because we've heard the head of MLB, the commissioner, say this cannot go on forever in terms of trying to seek a solution there. And in other cities, including in Miami, eventually they got a new stadium. It eventually happened. How long will it take before MLB says, look, it's just simply not working in this area, we have to think of other cities?
You know, that's a great question. I honestly can't answer that for you. If I had to guess, I'm going to say anywhere in the next 5 years they could make a decision, because if the losing and the small market idea of this team for the Tampa Bay Rays continues and doesn't produce, then they're really going to have no choice other than to start moving them around.
Now, Evan, if you look at what they are planning in terms of the artist renderings of a stadium, a dome stadium in the Ybor area, the capacity there would not be incredible, I think like 30 to 40,000. And so if you don't have ticket sales like that, how do you, I mean, I know you're not going to compete with the Yankees and the Red Sox or Toronto, but how do you start making revenues increase?
I think what they need to do, instead of trying to go towards the 35,000, 45,000 seat stadium, scale it back. Go to 25,000, because you're going to get a sellout crowd if you go to that maximum seating capacity. Instead of trying to compete with the big dogs, kind of bring it down a little bit, because then you're going to have people that are going to come. The stadium's going to get full, and then you're going to bring revenue in. That is a perfect spot to put a stadium, because you're right in the heart of Channelside. You can get traffic from I-4, from Orlando and Lakeland, and you're still going to get people from the south that are going to take 75 over to the Leroy Selmans and right over the Channelside into that stadium.
Tyler, do you know where the funding issue stands? I know this was being kicked around by the county commissioners. There were some recriminations up there in terms of commissioners who were kind of going along without telling their colleagues what was going on.
Yeah, to be honest, I have no clue where the funding issue stands at this point, but it's going to be interesting to see moving forward.
And Dwayne, as we said, that spring training is about a month away, and the Rays, they're just down the road in Port Charlotte around here, and once again they're going to be coming back to town with a lot of expectations, which are really, they don't seem to be shooting for winning a division this year.
Well, look, the reason why the Rays are down in Charlotte County, because they want to kind of encompass all of Southwest Florida. So you want to get that fan base. I mean, they're thinking long term, okay? They're thinking long term, trying to get everyone from Hillsborough County all the way down to Collier County to, over generations, jump on that Rays bandwagon. So again, the reason why they've gone down to Charlotte Charlotte County and the reason why they're playing in Charlotte County.
But on the other hand, if they put a stadium up there, you could potentially open up a new market if you're getting people coming in from Lakeland or Orlando.
Yeah, you definitely could. I mean, of course, you're going to lose people from, further south like Venice and Port Charlotte, but, the fans, they do go to the spring training games. I've been to so many games at Charlotte Stadium where it's packed and sold out, and it's mostly Rays fans. So, you're going to lose some of those people because the travel is going to be a little bit long, but you're also going to open up a bigger market by expanding to the East Coast.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
Florida Studio Theater presents the 8-time Tony Award winner Once, held over by popular demand. Captivating and breathtaking, Once is an unforgettable story about going for your dreams and the power of music to connect us all. Critics are calling Once engaging and heartwarming, outstanding, and a flawless production. Audiences are calling it phenomenal and better than Broadway. Once must close January 19th. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. And Tyler, I'll start with you, and let me put it to you this way. A year from now, are we going to be having the same discussion about the problem and not much happening?
I have a feeling that, yes, we will be having the same conversation. This team is not built to win quite yet. They're trying to get back to their winning ways of 2008 by building through the farm system. So it's going to take a little bit of patience. But, yes, this is still going to be a topic that we're going to be talking about next year.
Brad, how long is our area going to be patient in terms of rebuilding this team while still supporting it to enough to keep it viable?
You know, I disagree with Tyler. I don't think we'll be having this conversation a year from now. I think what they have with young talent that's going to be brought up and the moves they're going to make, they still have moves to be made in the offseason. I think this team is actually going to compete well. I think a lot of fans, a lot of Rays fans that were really upset about the Evan Longoria trade need to maybe move on and support your team. You should expect this from this team because this is what they do. This is what they do. They raise really good players and then they trade them away and then they get a lot back. I think the Evan Longoria trade to the Giants is still up in the air because you don't know really what these players that you got are going to do in the long run. So I think support your team, move on from that Longoria thing because it's done and it's over with.
You know, Dwayne, a lot of us around here are Yankee fans, Red Sox fans, so forth, but are they doing a good job in terms of, especially with the kids, in terms of building a fan base of young Rays fans that will come out to see the games in the future?
Yeah, I think they are doing a fairly good job. Obviously, like we mentioned before, you have the stadium, the Crabs down in Port Charlotte, but I think the key thing is here, what we discussed is the marketing issue. But in terms of trying to build a fan base, look, it's just going to take generations to do that.
You know, I do know that the Rays are spending less money on marketing on the Suncoast than they used to. And that may be something. Why don't we call Stu Sternberg and have a little conversation?
I think we should.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, that's because it is expired. Just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. And we want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Evan Bush is the host at HNL3.com. ABC7 reporter Dwayne Lindo. And joining us by Skype is Tyler Bradley of Sports Talk Florida. When we return, we'll have our business insider, Richard Stern here. Plus, President Trump sat down with lawmakers and the media present to discuss what his plans are for DACA. We'll be right back.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us swim! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but when it comes to retirement accounts like your 401ks or IRAs, you are required to begin taking distributions from the plan after you reach the age of 70 and a half. But how exactly does this work? ABC7's business insider Richard Stern joins us with more. Richard, do most people, A, know this, and B, know how to do this?
I think part A, they do know it. Part B, there's a lot of confusion as to how it is arrived at. What you said about age 70 and a half is absolutely correct. The year in which you turn 70 and 1/2. So if your birthday is in January, your half birthday is in July, that's the same year. If your birthday is in July, your half birthday is the following January, so you don't have to take it till the next year. But the key is two things. Your attained age. How old will you be on your birthday this year in 2018? Also, the value of your IRA account or IRA accounts as of December 31, 2017, as in 10 days ago. You put those two together, you come up with a formula, and we certainly have a chart that we can share with our viewers, and that tells you exactly how much money you have to
That was my next question. We have that on the screen right now, because as you get older, the percentage that you have to take out increases, if you could explain.
And that's totally by design. The goal, remember, Uncle Sam wants to get paid, and when you take this income, you're going to be paying tax. Uncle Sam says, you've never paid tax on this money. It's been deferred all these years. So as you begin to take money out and as you get older, your life expectancy is less, and therefore the amount that you take is more. The goal is to actually spend it during your lifetime. The goal of the investor is to only take the minimum and pass it on, hopefully, to their children.
Now, a lot of these rules are complicated, and the question is, don't most people have good financial planners and stockbrokers like yourself who will automatically guide them through the process of what what you have to take out and exactly when?
Hopefully the answer is yes. But not everybody has that luxury, unfortunately. I think the things to keep in mind is these things, it's not rocket science. It's really very straightforward. But one important thing to remember is required is required. If you don't take it, you're going to be subject to a 50% penalty, 50, and pay the income tax anyway. The other key word is minimum. Can you take more out of your IRA than the minimum? Absolutely. If your required minimum distribution is $5,000 and you want to take $8,000, perfectly fine. But you're going to be paying taxes on $8,000 worth of ordinary income instead of $5,000.
What do most people do?
Most people take the minimum if they can afford to do it, and they usually defer it until later in the year in hopes that the stock market will do well. So if they take their distribution in October, November, but it's really a function of individual needs. We have some people who take their distribution every month because they live on that distribution and they look forward to getting that check so that they can pay their bills. So there's not a one-size-fits-all.
The obvious question that many people would be asking tonight would be is how have these rules changed because of the tax reform plan that was just enacted by Congress?
No change whatsoever. I've been a financial advisor for 42 years, and this is about the only rule I've ever seen that has never changed.
Why is that?
It's because it's a function of the IRS setting up the table, and the fact that once the table is set up, as you grow older, you anticipate what your needs will be and you take it out as required. Again, you can start taking money out at 59 and a half, but Uncle Sam wants to get paid. And why is it? Because they know that you're going to have to pay it. And if you pass away with an IRA that has significant value, you can pass it to the next generation, and they're going to pay the tax.
Right. Now, it is important that if folks have any questions, they could contact you.
Sure.
They could also contact their own financial
Absolutely.
planners and advisors, but your email is rstern@rwbaird.com.
Correct, and we'd be happy to send them a copy of the chart and ask any questions they might have.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. Richard Stern joins us every other Tuesday to discuss the stock market, bonds, and other finances. We'll be back with primetime headlines. Stay with us.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke is a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump sat down today with lawmakers to discuss one of the major issues facing Congress at the moment, what to do about the so-called dreamers. As Kristen Holmes reports, it all played out in front of the cameras.
It should be a bill of love. Truly, should be a bill of love, and we can do this.
There are elements you're going to find Democrats support when it comes to border security.
Republicans and Democrats coming together at the White House, discussing DACA, the border wall, and so-called chain migration, coming to a rare agreement that finding a solution is going to take both parties.
I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't think I've seen a better chance to get it done than I do right now, because of you.
But there are quite a few sticking points. For President Trump, any agreement must include three things.
You need the wall. It can go up quickly, it can go up effectively,
as well as an end to chain migration and to the visa lottery. Meanwhile, the government's scheduled to run out of money in just 10 days, on January 19th. Congress scrambling to come to an agreement on how to fund the government. But any Republican plan will need Democratic support to pass, and the Democrats want DACA solved as part of any funding plan.
Lives are hanging in the balance of our getting the job done. We've got the time to do it. In a matter of days, literally of days, we can come together and reach an agreement.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes.
What a year for Joe. Found guilty by a federal judge, pardoned by Donald Trump. Now, former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio is running for U.S. Senate. Arpaio says he was running and supporting President Trump's mission to make America great again. Arpaio was defeated last year after serving 24 years as sheriff. He was also convicted of criminal contempt for defying a court order to stop racially profiling Latinos. However, President Donald Trump pardoned him. First, President Trump, and now Breitbart is off the Bannon wagon. Former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon is being forced out of Breitbart, the media company which focuses on far right-wing news and opinion, made the announcement on its website today. Bannon, who was fired by Trump's team last year, returned to Breitbart as executive chair over the summer. Last week, President Trump said Bannon had, quote, lost his mind for critical comments attributed to him in the book Fire and Fury. They had one strange U.S. Senate race, but they sure know how to play football in Alabama. After trailing the Georgia Bulldogs 13-0 at halftime, the Crimson Tide made a dramatic comeback to win the college football playoff national championship after the Bulldogs made a 51-yard field goal in overtime. Bama responded with a 41-yard touchdown pass in overtime by freshman Tua Tagovailoa. It was Alabama's fifth national title in 9 years, although we know UCF is the real national champion. Watch your mouth. My daughter goes to school there. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.